It's a very good afternoon from him, and of course it's a very good afternoon from me. Welcome to my mortgage live stream. I hope you're well on this mid-August day. Very quiet out there at the moment, I think, because everyone's on holiday and it's quite warm as well. Got a couple of great topics for you, picking up on some new materials and things to help you in your world. Hope you're good and well. Looking forward to the autumn that's coming out very quickly as well. Going to go straight over to our first topic, which is valuations and surveys, but modernised, because there's been some changes and you need to know what the changes are. So without any further ado, let's pop across to the whiteboard, shall we? And we'll talk about what's been going on. I want to talk about valuations and surveys then, as far as a mortgage broker is concerned, but modernised, because they've changed a number of the wordings now, so you need to be up to date with what you're talking about. So what have we got there when it comes to valuing and surveying a property? Well, first of all, you've got the lender. Now the lender, let's just put a little lender in there for you just for a second or two. The lender has to have what they call eyes and ears around the property, eyes and ears. That they're invariably not going to go to the property because they don't, but they need to check the property out because they're taking it as security, aren't they? So the first thing the lender is going to do, we'll call that Barry the lender there, because Barry's a good name, isn't it? The first thing that Barry's going to do is he's going to assess the application. So as soon as a mortgage application comes in, he's going to assess the application. Now, when he assesses it, he's obviously going to assess the borrower. I get all that. But we're talking here about the property itself and the condition of the property. And as a result of that, the lender will know what their criteria is. What do they accept? What don't they accept when it comes to the property? Now, last week, actually, I was working in London for a lender, which is to work with the BDMs. And one of the BDMs had a phone call from a broker asking if they accept properties with pre-conditioned concrete, which is a way of constructing it. It's pre-reinforced concrete. And they had to go to the underwriter to check that it was in their lending criteria because they weren't sure. So that's the first thing they do when they assess the application. They see whether it's in lending criteria. So let's just put that word in there. It's a really important one, isn't it? Lending criteria. But of course, that's over the years. They build up their criteria. They know what they should have and what they shouldn't have. But the next thing, of course, is that the broker will submit the application. Once he or she has run through the criteria, they will then submit the application to the lender. And the lender, of course, will do all the borrower's checks, of course, but then they'll do the property checks. Then they will focus on the property. And what they want to do is they want to value the property. They don't want to survey it. That's for the borrower. I'll come on to that in a second. They want to value the property to see if it's suitable security for a mortgage. This is where people get mixed up, sometimes, or customers do anyway. What they're looking at doing, therefore, is taking out what they call the basic mortgage valuation. Now, the basic mortgage valuation hasn't changed a bit. It still comprises of 4 elements. Element number 1, you can see from my little drawing here, is the actual valuation itself. They still want to know what the property is worth on the market for mortgage purposes. They're looking to know what the property is going to be used, how much of it can be used to secure the loan. If it had to be sold tomorrow, what would it make? They don't care about the future value when it's all done up. That's a different type of mortgage lending. Basic mortgage lending looks at what the property is worth, what's it valued at right now. Not necessarily the market price, although it tends to be similar to the market price, but it's the mortgage valuation. They also want to make sure that the property is suitable to secure a very long-term loan against it as well. They want to make it suitable. So that's the structure, the construction, the stability of the property. That's the suitability comes into it. They'll also want to know if there are any repairs needed in order for it to become suitable for mortgage purposes. And the final thing is they'll want to know what the insurance value is so that they can arrange some buildings insurance to protect against fire and flood, that sort of thing. That's known as the reinstatement cost. That's all they need. They don't want to know how lovely the house is and all those things. They just need to know if it's suitable, what the valuation is, repairs. Now, how do they do it? Well, many lenders now will obviously go to a surveyor or valuer who's on their panel. In other words, he or she has been approved to work for this particular bank or building society. But some of the big ones, of course, employ their own surveyors who carry this out. Now, these surveyors are RICS qualified. I'll come on to those guys in a second. In other words, they're qualified to do so, and they will go and carry out the valuation for mortgage purposes. That's really important. Now, a lot of the lenders nowadays don't bother with the surveyors. They use companies now where they get a desktop valuation done. You might have come across these. Now, desktop valuations are very different beasts altogether. So let's take a quick look at desktop valuations and see how they differ. So let's pop across to some slides, shall we, to give this to you in some depth. Here we go. So what I've got for you here are descriptions then of a physical valuation, a desktop valuation, and finally, how does a desktop valuation work? Now, think about a physical valuation when the surveyor, she's qualified, will go to the property and will go in the door and do a physical valuation. She'll visit the property in person to inspect and verify the details. This method is more accurate but costs more due to the site visit, of course. So there's a fee according to the purchase price of the property, £300-400 maybe, if not more. Now, the desktop valuation is very different. This is done remotely using data and images to estimate the value. It's quicker, cheaper, less detailed, and can miss important aspects though. So you think, well, hold on, let's have a desktop valuation instead. We don't need people. So how does a desktop valuation work? Well, first of all, an agent looks at all the available information about the property to estimate its value. So it's not a qualified RICS surveyor, it's an agent. There's companies that do this. They'll look at land registry records. They'll look at photos of the property on Rightmove, and they'll look at photos on Google Earth, that sort of thing. And they'll look at plans that you've provided as well. They'll look at online sales data, the different portals that sell and buy property, the agent's knowledge of the local market they might look at as well, if it's connected to an estate agency. And they'll use all sorts of other relevant public data. So essentially they're using the internet, aren't they, to go in there, scrape out all the information they have about the property and see what it's currently worth. It's often used for situations where maybe there's plenty of equity, so somebody wants to raise a little bit of money on a massive purchase price, so there's not a huge amount of risk going on there. That's often used for those purposes as well. But that's desktop valuation. Now, the basic valuation therefore is still the same. Now, when it comes to the customer, the client, she or he or they will want to make sure that the property is properly surveyed for their own purposes. That's what I'm going to come on to next. But before we go there, just finish off this story. So the valuation comes through. They get a tick for that, a tick for that, a tick for that, and maybe a question mark on repairs. So what happens then is they'll then issue their mortgage offer. Let's just put that in there for you. The mortgage offer. Now, the mortgage offer, which we know is the document which confirms the lender's going to lend the money, and that's when it might be subject to conditions. Now, the conditions that the mortgage offer might be subject to might be repair conditions. In other words, they might need to repair the property to bring it up to suitable condition. These repairs can be in the form of retentions or undertakings. Or it could just be that the repairs need to be finished before they lend any money. A retention is where they keep back some of the money to make you do it. An undertaking is this your sworn scout's honour, and a full retention is where they retain the whole mortgage money until you've done the repairs. So they're the conditions that might happen as a result of repairs being required to do it. If the property's not suitable, they won't issue the mortgage offer. And sometimes they will make a referral request to a specialist. Now, you've got to bear in mind that surveyors are not specialists. They're not drain engineers. They're not electrical engineers. They're not damp-proof engineers. They're not specialists in those areas. So they'll make referrals that you have to get a specialist electrician in to do a report on the property's electrical works, or a specialist structural surveyor to come in to survey the structure of the property. So these things might be referred on if the surveyor can't do the area of her expertise. So that's the process the lender goes through. Now, as far as the customer is concerned, many just use this report to buy the property. Very, very dangerous thing to do. Primarily, this report's not done for the customer. It's commissioned by the bank, the building society, the lender. They commission it, they pay it. Yes, the applicant has to pay a fee, which goes to the lender, which then gets paid to the surveyor. But it's commissioned for them. There's no recourse because they're not surveying the property, you see. So how can they be sued afterwards for bad advice? No. What the customer needs to do is to have their own survey done at the same time. So that's when this RICS come in now. So let's talk about RICS for a second or two. And we're not talking about the chap's name here. We're talking about RICS, the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, as you can see from this picture. They've been around for 150 years, as you can see from the picture, and they are the association that looks after professional surveyors. And they govern all of this, and rightly so. And they've created the new surveys that customers can have. So let's take you through these. We'll have a chat about some of these. So let's just pop in so I can say hi. Now I've got here a grid for you, which has the 5 types of survey along the left there. And then we've got some features, and we'll take you through these. These are important features that you need to be aware of. Now, first of all, the old mortgage valuation, it's still called the mortgage valuation. As we said before, it's the lender's valuation. It does a basic condition of the suitability of the property. It does an insurance value, remember. There's no claim for negligence, because if the surveyor misses something, the client can't sue them because it wasn't produced for them, it was produced for the lender. Is it prepared for the lender? It's prepared for the lender, not the client. That's the important thing about the basic valuation. As I said to you, some people rely on that, so it's not good. So what RICS have done, they've changed all the names. Can you see? They're now called Home Survey Report Levels 1, 2 and 3. Now we've got the Scottish one too. So let me take you through these so you might remember what they used to be called. Now the RICS Home Survey Level 1 report used to be called the Condition Report. It's relatively new anyway. It's not a lender valuation at all. It's a moderate survey of the condition of the property. There's no insurance value. There is a claim for negligence because we're doing a condition of the property, and it's prepared for the clients. Now, who's this for? Well, not many people would have one of these done because it's very moderate on the condition of the property. They brought in to encourage vendors to put the house on the market with a condition report, or level 1 report as it's called now. The vendor wants to sell the property, somebody comes along and views. They're given a copy of this report and it looks okay, which might therefore encourage people to buy the property. But other than that, they don't have a lot of use. Now, the survey level 2 is the one that's more common. This used to be called the Homebuyers report, or Flat Buyers report many years ago. Let's pop up the top there so you can see it. There's no lender valuation in this one, unless, of course, it's connected in there as well. In fact, the probably best thing to do there is to put a yes in there because of the way it works as well. I think that's important to do. Let's just change that and put a yes in there to make sure that we're comfortable with that, because invariably it does include the lender's valuation. That's the whole beautiful thing about it. So let's just pop that back up again, shall we? There you go. Let's flick back and get that one in there. Get back a bit. There we go. There we go. So home buyers report. And then we've got the lender valuation as well. Yes, condition of the property, it's fairly detailed, as you can see. There's a good 4 or 5 pages of the condition of the property. There's no insurance value built into the home buyers report, but there is in the lender valuation, which forms part of it. And just move out of the way so you can see the rest of that. There you go. Claim for negligence, yes, and this is prepared for the client. Then you have the big one. Let's put that for you. Used to be called the building survey. This is for an older property, a bigger property, more expensive property. No lender valuation, that's not included at all. A thorough condition of the property, no insurance value, and the claim for negligence, yes, prepared for the client. Now here's the trick with the building survey, and this is done on older properties. If you want the mortgage valuation done as well, you have to have one separately done. The lender needs to have one done. But often what they'll do is they'll actually conduct your survey, but at the same time do the mortgage valuation for no extra cost. If they're on the panel of the lender, if they've been approved by the lender, they'll be able to do a mortgage valuation for free. Unlike the previous one, which includes it automatically. So that's a good point to make, isn't it? Now the last one, which you may come across, you may not, depends if you live north of the border, is the Scottish Home Report. Now, the Scottish Home Report is very useful. It's not a lender valuation, but it's a very detailed condition of the property. No insurance value, yes on the claim for negligence, and prepared for the vendor. That's the difference there. The seller in Scotland has to prepare this report and give it to all interested parties. So what does it cover? So there's a whole thing there for you. Here's a little overview of what's included in a home report. The Scottish Home Report. Let's just zoom in so we can see that. First of all, you get your energy performance certificate. stating the energy efficiency of a building. Have a look at those in a second for you. Different ratings, very similar to England and Wales. Then you get your single survey. This is the detailed report on the condition and value of the property. It intends to provide both the seller and the buyer information regarding the property's value and condition before offers are submitted. That's the whole point. A purchaser can look at this report, it doesn't cost them anything, and make the offer based upon what they see in the report. So it's a really good idea, saves a lot of time. It also has a property questionnaire completed by the seller and their agent, useful information, council tax bands, length of ownership, parking facilities, and more. The kind of things that the lawyer would take care of during the long period before exchange of contracts in England and Wales. So it's a very good report, that one. Here's a screenshot of the energy efficiency ratings, which you've come across these before. You have to have these done in England and Wales as well. Energy efficiency report of the property. Obviously, we want to have more and more properties up there on the green, as you can see, A, Bs and Cs, because that's what the world requires, as you can appreciate. So there you have all the different reports. They've just changed the names. They're now called RICS Level 1, 2 and 3. In the exam, of course, you'll need to know what they are. Hopefully, maybe the old name might remind you of what they used to do. And that gives you a good update on what valuations and surveys do modernised. Hope that's been useful. Bye. Great. I hope that's been good for you. Hope you enjoyed that. As always, let's do a quick sales skill kind of motivational thing, just to sort of put you in the right frame of mind for the month that's coming up for you as well, or the few weeks that are coming up for you. This one's called Savour the Sunshine to improve your selling. Now, during our recent trip to Edinburgh in late March, I mainly experienced steely grey skies and bitter northerly winds. But later in the day, our stay in the city centre, the clouds moved away and the sun poked its way out to warm up the patient citizens of Scotland's capital city. Within an hour, the population came out of their tenement blocks for the first time that year without their big coats on to soak up the measly rays of warmth. I mean, you could see people seeking out the warmth amongst the deep, cold shadows that were created by these 4-storey high blocks in Edinburgh city centre. Every shard of light had a human being or two staring up at the sky, drinking in the warmth. And I was there as well. There I was sitting there, drinking in the sunshine like crocodiles. We were feeding ourselves with vitamin D and relaxing for the first time in ages. Now, the same can be said for the demanding role of a salesperson or mortgage advisor. Regardless of your sector, let's give you some ideas about what maybe we should be doing more of. Take time out to enjoy some white noise to recuperate. Schedule some sun breaks, as I call them. When fact-finding with clients, stop, take a back seat, and let the client do more talking than you. Take some time out, thinking time, from the hustle and bustle. Put thinking time in your diary and stick to that calendar. Wandering around without a goal unlocks the best thinking, perfect preparing for a big pitch maybe, or reviewing client strategy. Embrace the sunshine moments. People in Edinburgh emerged to enjoy the rare sunshine. Salespeople should seize the moments of positivity and success. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge your progress and use these moments to boost your morale and your motivation. So next time things feel hectic and full on, try to find your bit of sunshine, just like we did in Edinburgh. True story as well. True story, that one. It was freezing cold. Sun came out. Just shards of light, in all the nooks and crannies of a city centre. And people literally just went to the sunshine and just warmed their bodies up like they've been hibernating all the way through the winter. I think they probably were, some of them as well. Okay, that wraps up our live stream. A little bit later than usual, but I had a session on this morning, a live one as well. So as always, let me give you the database in which you can log on to. Got quite a lot of new stuff coming in to the autumn as well. Got new materials coming on the 8th of September for the new CMAPs as well. We'll keep you informed of those. And we've got some new events coming up, some webinars and things throughout the autumn. So lots happening. To get on that database, just use that QR code as always. Other than that, I hope you have a fantastic week and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.